Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Thankful Thursday edition of Public Speaking in Business. I'm your host, Dr. Samantha DeLoache, your modeling pharmacist and professional speaker coach. And I have been having a fabulous time meeting so many great individuals, so many powerful entrepreneurs, and just hearing their story and just for them to be able to share how public speaking or communication has been so impactful for their journey has really touched me and encouraged me even more, and it's letting me know I'm on the right path with my Model Speakers Academy. I'm so happy to be able to say today that I'm ready to launch, and my first webinar will be hosted next week. So I have different social media posts going up right now. I even have an ad on Facebook. So please sign up so that you can be one of the first ones to hear this webinar where I tell you all the wonderful features in the Model Speakers Academy. And what we're doing is mastering the mic. And that means we're mastering our futures because our voice has the power to lead and open many doors that we never even knew of. So we have to have our confidence. We have to have our tools in place. That way we can be able to do what we want to do and go to the next level. So that's what it's all about. In the Model Speakers Academy, you're going to learn how to motivate, organize, deliver, engage, and lead. Because I always say this, if you're a speaker, you're a leader. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a management position at your job, even in your family, you have the power to lead. And so we want you to lead with confidence. So that's the spiel for that. Definitely sign up for this webinar. You're going to really learn some impactful tools to change and shape your future. But as you know, at our lunchtime chat, we have another great person on, another great entrepreneur powerhouse. Jacent is here, and she's going to introduce herself and tell you about what she has going on. And as you can see, she's a wealth coach. And so I know she's going to give us a wealth of information, literally. So welcome, Jacent.
Thank you so much for having me. Congratulations and kudos to you. It's not easy to start and to grow a business. So thanks for showing up in the world to serve, especially in the way that you do. And I'm cheering you on. So I'm excited to hopefully hear that everything goes well. And, I think for all of us, the goal is to live to our full potential. And I was born in Uganda, raised here in the States. And that's why my family left our country of origin, was to give us opportunities and the ability to live a life of full potential. But we grow up with, a checklist of things that you're supposed to do, right? Supposed to go to school, get a degree, get the job, all of these things. And I did those things growing up, and it kind of backfired on me a little bit, kind of like it has for some people. And I found myself in a lot of debt. And so I went to school to become a marriage and family therapist. I also studied theater, but, I was in almost six figures worth of debt by the time I was 26. I had lost my father and gotten divorced in the same year. And it was a really tough time for me personally, mentally, and emotionally, dealing with all of the grief at the same time as I was trying to serve other women. And I realized that there was this connection between mental health and money. And so, public speaking is something that we do whether we know it or not. If you speak to people, it's happening. So why not
Right.
become intentional about it? Why not utilize it, leverage it as a skill that you can, help you to get to where you want to go, make it easier for you, but also have an impact, share, your testimony with the world to be able to transform people's lives. And so it's something that has truly, literally turned my life inside out. And I never would have imagined the levels and layers. So I'm excited to have this conversation and dive deep into, how it might be helpful for you.
Absolutely. And thank you for your transparency. I love to hear it. Life happens to all of us, but it's not about what happens, is what we do with it and how we're able to shape it and use it to our advantage to go to the next level. So thank you for sharing that. So let's get right into it. Why do you believe public speaking is a crucial skill for business professionals today?
Yeah, public speaking is a crucial skill for business owners in particular, because when you're a business owner, you're saying you have a solution to a unique problem. And
Mhm.
how else are you supposed to ensure that you're getting your message out if you are cutting off the opportunity to do it in one of the most significant and high converting ways? So the highest converting thing you could do is speak and let someone see and hear you. So
Right.
that's video, that's showing up in person, that's someone being able to essentially get a feel for your essence. But because we are getting in our own way, we're not allowing ourselves to share whatever our message is, market, right? Let people
Mhm.
know about how we serve to solve a problem that someone is literally praying for the answer to. It's almost selfish, I would say.
Mhm.
And it's the easiest way to be able to move through a buying process, to get someone from going to a stranger to someone who gets to know who you are, like you, trust you enough to then want to trade their money for whatever service or product that you provide. And so I think it's important because we live in no better day and age that's easier to be able to do this. Like literally, people used to have to market in the phone book. Like maybe I'm aging myself, like
Yes.
marketing used to be much more challenging and much
Right.
more expensive. But
Mhm.
now we have the opportunity to share a message, to share, how we can help people literally with the phones that we have in our pockets. And so I think that it's just a lost opportunity not to take advantage. And it's a skill. So if you're not great at that skill right now, guess what? Just like you learned how to walk and talk and feed yourself, you can learn how to speak. And that's why, being able to have access to things like the Speaker Academy is going to be transformational. And so I think, obviously there's plenty of ways to be able to grow your business, but why would you not use probably one of the lowest barrier ones that are out there?
Wow, you just beautifully articulated that one, like you said, it's the highest conversion rate, and things used to be so hard back in the day. I guess I'm dating myself too because I remember the yellow pages.
Yeah.
So there was so much we had to do, and now we have the internet, the information highway. We're able to literally. You're in Las Vegas right now. I'm in North Carolina, and we're having a conversation. What? So it's like there's no real excuse nowadays. But like you said, if you're not where you want to be, it's a skill that can be developed and you just have to be willing to do it. So thank you for such beautifully articulating that point. So my second question is, can you share a personal experience where effective public speaking significantly impacted your career or business?
Let me tell you a little story. Um, when like I mentioned, was kind of coming out of what I call the grief storm of losing my father, getting divorced, accumulating all of the student loan credit card debt. I, calculated my net worth for the first time. It was negative, real negative. It was like negative $70,000. And it was kind of like being at a crossroads in my life. And so at that time, 26 going on 27, I decided to figure out, like, what if I paid everything off? Like, what would my life look like? What do I want? How do I want to live? How do I want to serve? If I'm being really honest with myself and there's no limitation on what I could do. And so I ended up paying off, six figures or so in 3 years before I turned 30. And I was showing people and I was sharing my journey just because it was like what I was doing, and that's what we do on social media is like, just talk about where we're at in life. And people started asking me questions. And so I started answering them and just being authentic and just wanting to kind of share that there's options. Like I feel
Mhm.
like we feel like we don't have any options. We're stuck. There's no way out. And I just wanted to show what I was doing, not to say that this is what you should do, but like find your own way, carve your own path. And it actually ended up leading to wild opportunities, like literally crazy. Okay, pandemic happened. And I realized I had this realization, this is probably my entrepreneurial mindset. I was like, everyone's at home. Like
Right.
celebrities, regular people, like
Mhm.
everybody's at home. And so everybody was on the internet and people were going live. So what I did at that time was I was starting to, get and play with this internet stuff.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
started requesting to go live with anyone I was watching on Instagram. So if they
Mhm.
were live, I would hop on it. It didn't matter who it was. I actually saw a friend who went live with Justin Bieber for 2 minutes. She don't know Justin Bieber. She don't know Justin Bieber, but
Right.
he allowed her onto. So I was like, okay, interesting. And so I ended up going live with Anthony O'Neill, who used to be with the Ramsey Network, right?
Yeah.
And we were chatting, and at that time, I was just about to finish paying off all of my student loans and credit cards. And so having the audacity
Mhm.
to request to go live with a stranger, someone who might be seen as a public figure or whatever the case is, to have a conversation like he's a human, because he is, right? He's
Right.
amazing. He's a
Mhm.
friend and a mentor. Now, led to him becoming my friend and my mentor, led to me getting to go to Ramsey Studios for an influencer program later on that year, potential opportunities to be hired with different networks for things, literally like growing my business past six figures. So opening my mouth and talking about what I already know and what I already talk about, what I'm already doing. If this isn't stuff that I had to go out and like do extra about. What there's something that you already know right now that you could talk about for hours. Talk
Yes.
about that stuff. You don't have to go and perpetrate and try to talk about what other people are talking about because it looks like it's making them successful. The reason they're successful is because they're staying in their lane. And so I had to figure out how to stay in mine. What is my lane? And I allowed myself to figure that out in front of the camera. So you also don't have to be perfect by the time that you, and it's not just about being in front of a camera, but it's like when you're at the grocery store, how do you talk to people? When you're at the doctor's office, are you on your phone like this? Just look around at people. And I've been really enjoying lately just being out in public and not on my phone and just smiling at folks at the grocery store and having little conversations with someone you're never going to see again in your life. But like it was a cool 30-second interaction. And so I think beyond the cool big opportunities that led to like being on the Today Show, getting on Good Morning America, literally as like little old me in Las Vegas, living my life, but also just in your day-to-day life, feeling more confident and walking
Mm.
with your head held high and being able to connect with people really easily because you are working on this skill called public speaking. So I hope that answers your question. If not, bring me
Oh,
back in.
oh no, no. Wow, you definitely answered it. You went above, the answer. That's amazing. I love how you said you had the audacity. You know what? You took a bet on yourself. And like you said, it's something that you were already doing. And, you could have been like, oh, well, he already knows all this information. Why am I going to join? But you still showed up and said, hey, let me be a testimony. Let me show what I have already done. And it opened doors. And so that's the thing I think is so beautiful about public speaking or just even opening your mouth confidently is that you don't know who you're going to meet or how what you were doing or what you could say could make a difference. And then I love how you said just being intentional with how you are doing and living your everyday life. We have become so fixated on our cell phones and not being present and not being able to give that eye contact, to speak, to shake hands, or just have those exchanges. Everybody's just in their own world, doing their own thing. And sometimes you got to look up, like you said, smile or just have an interaction. All of these things are ways to communicate and ways to interact with individuals who you might not normally ever see again, but you don't know how that exchange, those 30 seconds can make a difference. So, wow, that's awesome. You opening your mouth, like you said, during the pandemic, and you were able to literally see changes. That's amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that. Wow. So my third question is, what are some common public speaking challenges that business professionals face and how can they overcome them?
Yeah, before we hopped on, I was actually looking up because I wanted to make sure that I was accurate in what I was saying. And according to the National Society, or no, National Social Anxiety Center, right? The fear of public speaking is the most common phobia ahead of death, not
Wow.
behind death. Ahead, people would rather die. They're less afraid of dying than speaking. And I
Wow.
get it. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, I'm sure, and I hear it all the time, like, "Oh, just you're such a great speaker, like, you look really
Mhm.
confident." Like, I'm
You
sweating right now. It doesn't mean that I don't get nervous. It just means
are
that, like, I know how to manage what's coming up, and I work through it because sharing and having this conversation matters more to me than the stress or the nervousness that I feel inside. And so I
right.
think that one of the biggest mistakes that someone could make is to listen to the lies you tell yourself. There's a book
Mm,
that I recommend to all of my students. And literally, I was just talking to one of my new students yesterday, and she's like, "This thing has turned me inside out." It's
mm,
called The Lies We Tell Ourselves: The Psychology of Self-Deception by Dr. Courtney Warren. Literally, it's like 50 pages. It's a short book, but it's going to drag
mm,
you. Don't say I didn't warn you. And it's going to help you get really honest with yourself because all of these limiting beliefs, remember, I've got my degree in psychology, right? Our psychology is either going to help us or it's going to hinder us.
mhm,
And just because something is coming up doesn't mean you have to believe it or go with it.
mhm.
So just because you're nervous or just because you think people are going to boo you or just because you think, no one is listening, you only have one person. I got 3 people on my Instagram live over here. And somebody is going to feel like, "Oh my God, there's only 3 people on my Instagram live." Don't listen to the lies you tell yourself
Right, right,
because everyone had to start somewhere. And
right.
maybe that one person that's on needs to hear what you have to say today. I get messages about that all the time. And maybe no one is on right now, but this is your practice. So when an opportunity does show up, that's not your first time. You've been putting in the reps. And so I think not listening to the lies that you tell yourself, okay, let's make a commitment to being honest, stop being a pathological liar. And right, not having the frame of mind of a scientist. So in elementary school, we all learned about the scientific method. Our job is just to do experiments, create a hypothesis, create the conditions, right? What are the variables? And then experiment. And so being so attached to perfectionism is holding us back from just playing. Like if you were to replace this fear of what people are going to think or getting rejected, being judged, what would be there instead? You would have the freedom and
Mhm.
flexibility to be creative and to play and to quote unquote mess up or make mistakes. And when no one is watching is when you want to do your practice. Like, I'm
Right.
so glad I went live so many times before I was on the Today Show, because by the time I got there, it felt so much easier than if that was the first time that someone was like, "Hey, can you do an interview with me?" I had done thousands and thousands of hours worth of interviews by that point. So I think those are the biggest two things. Don't listen to the lies that you tell yourself, as well as not holding yourself back from experimenting.
Wow.
And I'm
Well,
plugging in because I don't want us to die.
okay, no worries, but that was amazing. Again, you've been just bringing the heat, giving us so many great nuggets the whole talk. And you're right. I wrote down the title of the book, The Lies We Tell Ourselves, because I want to get it. Because I know we literally have, yesterday when I was doing my talk, there's limiting self belief that we have. We have a lot of those that we just tend to, yeah, thanks for having it, that we tend to hold on to. So, what are we telling ourselves that's limiting us and not allowing us to go forward? So, we definitely have to break that record, stop that chain or loop that we are listening to, and be free and realize that when we're all humans, mistakes are going to happen, but again, not to be so hard on ourselves. Like if you make a mistake, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? Get up, dust yourself off, try again. But we got to stop believing those lies. And also I think sometimes we over hype or believe that people are more concerned about us than they really are. Everybody's dealing with their own individual experiences. So 9 times out of 10, even though somebody's looking at you, their mind is thousands of miles away. So they're not even really that deep or that seriously, invested in what you're talking about anyway, 9 times out of 10. So get over yourselves in essence. And, I know we think we all are great and that we are the best thing since sliced bread and that people eat, sleep, drink, and think about us all day. But the truth of the matter is they don't. So we got to, stop, telling ourselves these lies that, oh my gosh, the whole world's going to crumble if I make a mistake or if I show up and I don't have everything perfect. No, just be yourself. People, I think, like relatability. They want authenticity. They want to know that your life is not perfect because their life is not perfect. So they
Mhm.
want a true human interaction and not all these filters and other things that we use to hide behind to give this false portrayal and then knowing we can't live up to it. So why not just be yourself from the beginning and just work on being better than you were the next day?
That's it. I've heard us saying, I'm going to butcher it, but pretty much like anyone who's about something, like anyone who is doing something, isn't going to tear someone else down.
Right,
So anyone who will tear someone down, that's them dealing with their own stuff. It has nothing to do with you,
right.
So it's like really being able to separate that stuff out and be detached from anyone else's opinion of you and where you're at and what you're doing.
Right, right.
Just
And you're
work.
right. Exactly. Because you're right. If somebody's doing, they know how hard it is. So why would
Yep.
they try to knock you down? So usually the people who aren't doing anything are the ones who have the most comments, the most critique, because guess what? They don't have anything to do. I'm too busy building and working on my stuff. I don't have time to worry about what you got going on or to tear you down. I'm busy praying that my stuff doesn't fall. So, so that's so true. So thanks for bringing that up. So our last question is, what is one essential tip you would give to someone who's looking to improve their public speaking skills?
So, one tip I would give to someone who's looking to improve their public speaking skills is to start today.
Yes.
If you want to be a better public speaker, don't wait.
Mhm.
Don't wait till you have X amount of dollars. Da, 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 da. Like waiting, hesitation is the hindrance.
Mhm.
You can practice public speaking by dropping a comment. If you're watching this now, if you're watching it later, put hashtag, replay with your key takeaways or
Yeah.
questions or whatever the case is. That's a form of public speaking, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
using your voice, advocating for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
speaking up, speaking up for others, right? And so I think, it happens in small ways and it happens in big ways. Maybe you get on the email list so that you can join this amazing program that's about to open up, right? The Speaker Academy. Maybe you are at the grocery store and you strike up a conversation with the cashier. And so I think the saying goes, success loves speed.
Yes.
How quickly can you start practicing?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like that's the smallest, simplest thing I can say.
Mm.
Send me a DM, send me a voice note.
Right. Right.
I'll
Wow.
answer you. It's me. It's me in my DMs on Instagram. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think it's very simple, but I think people want things to be harder than they are.
Right.
Like,
No,
we
you're
want
right.
we want it to be harder. It's not. It start with where you are right now today. Psychologically, the way that people progress, right? Because I taught personal growth and development for years, is by reinforcing the behavior that you want to see more of. Well, how are you going to reinforce it? How are you going to stay motivated? How are you going to keep getting wins? By starting now and collecting all these tiny wins over time, celebrating them, and it's going to force you to keep showing up because you like how it feels. And so all of that is going to add up to the greater, bigger successes that we typically celebrate. But literally, the smallest thing would be send Dr. Samantha an email saying thank you for this conversation. How can I join your email list to learn more about your Speaker Academy?
Wow.
You know?
Mhm. Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much. And like you said, start today.
Mhm.
We like to put stuff off. I'm going to start in the new year, New Year's resolution. No, you don't have to wait till 2025. You can start today. You can start right now. That way, by the 2025, you will already have progress. You will already be a couple steps ahead by January. So we have to just stop fooling ourselves. Like you said, stop telling those lies to ourselves and get busy and get started. Stop making excuses because there's always going to be, a reason or something that can stop us. But we got to push past all of that and realize if you want to be a little further along in your journey, if you want to get to that next goal, that next level, at some point you got to stop making excuses and get started.
Mm.
Because
Mhm.
just be honest, if you would have wanted to do it and if you would have done it, or if you wanted to have accomplished it, you'd have done it already.
Right.
So a lot of people are like, oh, I can pay off that debt, or I can do that. Well, why isn't it paid off? Oh,
Mm.
I could have, written that book. Well, why isn't it written? Like we always say, oh yeah, I can do it, I can do it, but we
Yeah.
still haven't done it. So we have to stop all the talking and start doing, and just start today. Make a decision, like you said. Send me a DM, send me a email to get on the message list. Sign up for the webinar so you can hear about the program, or if you want to get better with your wealth and start building wealth, hey, I'm going to have all of Jacent's information. Send her a message, follow her Instagram, get started. Because, like she said, she was already doing so many reps. By the time she got contacted by the Today Show, she was ready because she'd already been doing the practicing. And that would be a dream. I would love to be on the Today Show or Good Morning America. So, hey, I'm working, doing my show right now so that.
You're preparing. You're showing that you're ready. You're waiting. You're getting your muscles up. Yeah.
Exactly. So the key thing is we got to start. We got to stop making excuses, stop allowing fear to take over, and stop. It's okay. Beyonce had to start somewhere. Everybody
Mhm.
had to start. Nobody comes out the womb ready and are flawless and have everything together. Everything's a process. So we need to stop belaboring it and just go ahead and get started. Give ourselves the grace and just go ahead and get it done. So, wow. Thank you so much,
And
Jacent.
if I could add one thing,
Sure.
the whole perfectionism thing and waiting is what holds you back from the greatest outcomes, because think about the people that you really look up to and admire most. Why do you look up to them and admire them? We want to watch a journey.
Mhm.
We don't want to see a perfect picture. We want to see the evolution of a story. So, a great way to be able to utilize public speaking. And actually, it's probably even better. Like if you're really bad at public speaking, that means that you have an even better opportunity because your transformation is going to be so cool. Like if you start today and you get on camera and you're stuttering, even if you don't post it today, you're just documenting the journey privately and maybe you'll use it later on, right?
Mhm.
That a month, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years,
Right.
having all of that documentation, it's like a journal, right?
Mhm,
Whether
mhm.
it's written down, however it is that you document, oh my goodness. Why do we binge watch Netflix? Because we love stories. So
Yes.
your development
Mhm.
as a speaker is a part of your story. And in this day and age, people are not just buying products from people blindly. They want to
Mhm.
know who they're buying stuff from. So
Right.
don't rob people of the opportunity to join the journey, follow along, and also get to know you so that they feel more apt to do
Mhm.
whatever it is. There's something called true fans. Whatever it is you got, they want. Like you got a book, they want it. You are in a community, they got it. Like because they are attached to you. It's brand loyalty. So I would just
Mm.
say that last thing is let people in on the journey. Talk about the downs as much as you talk
Mhm,
about the ups.
mhm.
I'm not saying don't have boundaries. Okay. But I'm
Right.
saying be
Yeah.
intentional about sharing your journey, what parts of it that you can and are willing to.
Wow. And I love it. Like you said, it's a journey. And
Mhm,
allow people, and I love when you said don't rob people of the opportunity to be a part of that journey because, like you said, people want a connection. They don't
mhm,
want to just be buying blindly from a robot or a machine. They want to know who this person is behind this product, this service. And so we can literally capture our own journeys. And I can even look back and see where I started because I did modeling and I still do model. But when I look at my first set of photo shoots I did and
mhm.
compare to how I am now, of course there's growth because I continue to
Yep.
do it. So my posing looks different. My facial expressions are different. I look more natural because I've done it more. So again, we have to stop being afraid of starting and
Mhm,
going through that process of being a beginner. It's okay to be a beginner. It's okay to start from scratch, ground zero, and know nothing. And then, like you said, watch that journey unfold and that progression. And because people want the story, stories are what sells. Stories are what make you relatable, make you more
yep.
of a human. And it's like, oh wow, if that's how they started and this is where they are now, I can do it. So we literally can give people hope for transformation by being
Mhm,
transparent and sharing our ups and downs and just showing the process of what consistency looks like, what it looks like to start and just to believe in yourself. So wow, just saying I really love this conversation. This was what I needed. This was beautiful. And I hope you all really capture the essence of everything and take some notes. And like she said earlier, if this is a replay watch, put hashtag replay, but definitely start today. Whatever your journey is, if it's speaking or if it's financial success or whatever it is that you know in your heart that you need to do, you've been putting it off long enough.
mhm.
Start today. Stop putting it off and make it happen. And you know what? We're here to support you in whatever way we can, but definitely you want to get started. So, Jacent, tell everybody how they can stay in contact with you, how to follow you, and what you may have coming up.
Yeah, so I am most active on YouTube and Instagram. That's my first name, last name, Jacent Wamala. You can find me at that on both places. So definitely subscribe and follow me on Instagram. I have my cohort is open for cohort 3, which will start in October. So anyone interested in being able to work alongside me and our community of like-minded women to be able to manage and multiply your money, turn your salary into generational wealth, and really be able to expand into the most abundant version of yourself, being able to, get rid of debt, increase your savings, and invest. Send me a DM and I would love to chat with you to see if there's alignment because that's what we're all about. And I would love, if nothing else, to send you a ebook copy of my book, The Financial Freedom Formula: 5 Steps to Decrease Debt, Increase Your Income, and Save Money. And so this is a great workbook. It has my story, but it also has really actionable, simple
Hmm.
steps, prompts, questions, and little lined paper so you can use it like a little workbook. So if you DM me the word ebook, then I'll make sure that you get access to that ebook version. And maybe a lucky person will get a physical copy. Maybe we'll get crazy if someone sends me a message. I'll go ahead and send one of these. So go ahead and reach out. And I appreciate you for having me on. I'm so grateful to just be able to public speak and have this conversation, practice, share, all of that good stuff.
Yes, and I will include her links so that you can literally click on it and be able to get to her page and get all this great information, because this was a wealth of information at your fingertips. So you just gotta start today and make those changes. So again, make sure you follow Jacent, follow what I have going on with the Model Speakers Academy, and sign up for the webinar. And I hope everyone have a great lunch. This is the only talk I have for today, but tomorrow, Friday, I have 3 great conversations. So you definitely want to tune in throughout tomorrow, but I'll be posting it. But everyone have a great day, and thank you again